Squawk, squawk, fellow sorrowers. Today I'm going to be attacking the BBC once again because once again they are attacking the heart. That phrase in itself I actually learnt from this individual, the late Max Spears. I believe that he was assassinated, and again another phrase used to use was to assassinate one's character, which I believe is what the BBC are trying to do in this interview. It's quite surpassed now, quite an old interview based on the fact that he was murdered, or they'd say passed away, 3 or 4 years now, I believe. So he was raised under much MK Ultra mind control, and it comes through in the videos. His alters, they messed with him, manipulated him, masqueraded him in many ways, and yes, he did lie a lot, but there's more truth in his lies than lies in his truth, and I only believe he did that indirectly as a symptom of the MK Ultra that he was being managed with and handled with. That's not me sticking up for him. You can tell when you listen because he'll let things out, and unlike Miles Johnson, for example, who does the basis of which is the interviewer to most of the interviews that Max Spears did, he'll catch himself out, Miles Johnson, and then go, oh, no, we'll just leave that there. Max didn't do that. Max was one of the only fucking ones that would say something, realise what he'd said or started to say, and then continue anyway. Hence his death. So, his death itself was inconclusive, and he was reported to have thrown up just around 2 litres of black fluid just before his death. He was titled a super soldier, although he hated the title. And he was the one that taught me about the vampiric consciousness, as he called it. I know that other truth researchers have other names for it, as do I, and other truth researchers have taught me the same thing. But most of them haven't heard of each other, and yet we're all teaching the same thing, aren't we? Don't you think that that's... I was going to say odd, but it's really not odd, is it? It's not odd to the ones like us. It wasn't odd to the ones like him. So, yeah, the BBC are doing exactly that. So this is going to be a video on how to assassinate one's character, okay? Because if we ever talk too much, as it has happened before him and will happen again, that's what they're going to do with us. They don't have to assassinate you to assassinate your character. Sometimes that's worse. Sometimes that can lead the person to take their own life. Yeah? But this is one of the best, or I guess I should say worst, smear campaigns I've ever seen the BBC try to achieve. So without further ado, let's have some fun.
I hear this sound frequency coming from the television that completely messes with my pineal gland.
Okay, you see all that stupid stuff they're doing with the lens they put on, the effect of the television going all funny. Okay, so that in itself is going to lay some of the flooring already, isn't it, for this deceptive foundation, okay, that they're going to knock down his foundation with to build in your brain, right? Not your mind, your brain. So that is going to do that straight away. It's a way of discrediting this completely out of touch statement that he made. Now I say it's out of touch as a statement because they're not giving you any context here. So I've heard of him, I've seen these interviews, right? But it's even out of touch to me. I can't remember what interview he said that in, why he said it, and what question was asked by the interviewer for the interviewee to... Do you see what I mean? So straight away it makes him sound like a fucking nut job, especially if you haven't heard of him before. As soon as the documentary starts, people were talking to me through the TV. You see what I mean? So yeah, rule 1 on how to assassinate one's character. Let's continue.
Hear this sound frequency coming from the television that completely messes with my pineal gland. What happens is it releases the coiled serpent or the kundalini, which is at the base of the spine.
Right, I'm just going to repeat what he just said, yeah, because this is rule 2 on how to assassinate one's character. You follow up one statement with another that's completely polar opposite, yeah, with, of course, no context whatsoever once again. So, let's just hear that second statement again quick.
From the television that completely messes with my pineal gland. What happens is it...
Right, that's it, right. What happens is it... So we have no idea what it is right now, do we? But they've put it up anyway. What happens is it releases the coiled serpent. What coiled serpent? What, a real coiled serpent? Do you see what I'm... This is how they do it. Okay?
The coiled serpent or the kundalini, which is at the base of the spine.
And all that flashing, trippy shit. Ooh, dude. You know, DMT, man. So the first thing they show you... And the first statement they give you, which would be from your side, yeah, as from the audience side, the viewer's side, because we have the same way you automatically associate yourself with the protagonist in a movie, right? You're in a documentary. You're going to do it with the interviewer, with the documentator, this woman, okay, who I've just add and state now has no fucking idea about any of this stuff. Any of it. Even on your basic conspiracy theorists, you know, UFOs and all that shit that none of us are about anyway. She has no idea. So I'd imagine that's why they've picked her. Okay? She just belittles all of it with this insipid tone. Anyway, yeah, first statement, and you're going to embody yourself as the interviewer, is Max Spears was a conspiracy theorist. Not people believe he was. You know, it's not subjective. It's not objective. You're a fucking interviewer, darling. Do your job properly. Yeah, and you're not meant to just, boom, that's what someone is. Not without proof, of course. Who's to say he's a conspiracy theorist? It seems like I'm getting angry about it being Max Spears. It's not. It's because the way I'm seeing it, for all I know, he was a shill. For all I know, he's on a beach somewhere laughing his arse off. It's not about that. That could have been you. That could have been me. This could be you. This could be me. Getting a smear campaign, right? But this is how they do it. That's all I'm trying to teach here. The word conspiracy theorist as well, I'm just going to put out quick. Con spiral, yeah? The con of the spiral. Well, we're nothing like that. How often do you call yourself a conspiracy theorist? Do you theorise about what a conspiracy is? Or do you theorise that you're a conspiracy theorist? Because I'm not. I don't believe you are. And he wasn't. He hated that title. And in death, they still give it to him. That shows the respect that the BBC and this interviewer has towards the material of which they're trying to apparently bring truth and light to.
Spears was a conspiracy theorist. He died.
Sorry to keep pausing, I just keep seeing more things. You see the train they just showed you. First thing, again, it goes straight into the subconscious. They show you a train because they're trying to train you. That's it. That's all it is. So you will be trained by this into believing what they're telling you and showing you. That's it. Yeah? They're trying to carry you from one step to the other, one level to the other, one platform to the other, one station to the other, from what you previously believed before this documentary to what you're going to now believe after you've heard the bullshit.
Died in July 2016 in Poland, 1,000 miles from his home in Canterbury. He was 39. 7 months on, and how he died remains a mystery.
You don't just lie on a sofa and die. Something happens.
Nie mogliśmy m.in. przeprowadzić kluczowych w tego typu przypadkach sekcji zwłok.
Stories keep growing amongst conspiracy theorists about the role of satanic cults or aliens, and that Max...
Does it? Between you and me, yeah, and all the rest of us conspiracy theorists, is that what we keep talking about? Yeah, in our little groups. Is that what? Yeah. How often do you use the word alien? Or even satanic? because we know it's so much darker, deeper, depthful and dense than that. But that's all they want the public to see as us, of us. It's very clever, very crafty. Do you see what they're doing? It's BBC documentary, so your average Joes are going to be watching it, and that's what they're going to be taking in.
More than he should have.
And the way they place him on the throne, well, he did sit in a chair at a church. They do it in a way it's like king of the conspiracy theorists.
When I met him in
Oh, they are funny. They are funny.
least 4 pairs of agents.
Whispers about a death involving black vomit and
So that was Miles Johnson, I believe, possibly one of his handlers. He did most of the interviews for Max on the Bases project.
strange rituals have catapulted this previously little-known conspiracy theorist into the spotlight.
What do I always tell you, brothers and sisters? Their vocabulary reflects their lifestyle. Okay, into the spotlight. Didn't have to use it, did anyway. And just as she says it, she shows you, show and tell, show. What does she show you along with it? After calling him a little he's deaf. What they've said there, what she said is, he's deaf. Basically, he's deaf is the only thing that catapulted him out of being a little conspiracy theorist. So that's going to go straight back to your subconscious that he's not really anything. Didn't mean nothing. Anything he said, you know. It's just the deaf stuff, you know. Otherwise, he'd still be little. That's what it does. Watch what they show you when they tell you. Spotlight.
Black vomit and strange rituals have catapulted this previously little-known conspiracy theorist into the spotlight.
I have
They show you the false lights.
been under psychic attack, under astral attack, and under physical attack to stop me from coming to Warsaw to be able to convey this information to you.
Fractured. Again. So now you're try and, I know it's hard, try and think as an organic portal for a minute. Try and think as an NPC. Fractured, what, like broken? Oh, I see, yeah. Fractured, so broken brain, like you can't mend his mind. Like, as in, he's a fucking nut job. See what I'm saying? Hopefully not, because I know you're not one of them. Yeah, that's it really, you know. I mean, he's either make the documentary about the death of Max Spears or make it about the fractured mind of Max Spears. Okay, because they believe that to be the case, right? But they've put the two together. Do you see what they've done there? So he's insanity causes death. That is where they're going to end up going with this. I'm telling you. Again, first thing they show you just after they show you titles and headlines, very important. First thing to go in, okay? Like the first band of the evening, you know, before the headline at the end being the last thing that you leave with from the gig, yeah? So, the first thing they're showing you in this gig, being a musician, see, I know this stuff and want to be a director, you see, I see this stuff. Yes, you've got the zigzag right in the middle, all the way up, okay? Which is lesser magic in itself. You've got the chaos magic over here. Okay. As above, so below. I believe there's even a 666 on these signs. The dominoes your chessboard. And there was something else. What was it? Oh, I could have sworn there was something else. Oh, okay, that's it. So you got your red, your black, and your white. So you sacrifice, your death, your rebirth. You see that? Just them colours. Very important because Max Spears used to go on about that the most.
He was a very special person indeed, from the time he was born. Just special because he's my son, never mind all the rest. You know.
So, unlike most interviews where they try to smear the campaign and character of a recent death, someone that was speaking out. They usually use crisis actors as the parents and the siblings. This actually is Max Spear's mum. You can tell by her facial features, the way she speaks, and she does love him to pieces. However, she's being coerced, in my opinion. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if this interviewer is even handling her and coercing her with her touches, nuances in what she's saying. Very easy to do. Very easy to do when you know how to. Yeah, okay, let's continue.
March of 2008, some strange things started happening to me. I had some extremely vivid dreams, and then I got taken out of my body, and...
Again, it's always about what you're being shown as you're being told, or what you're being told as you're being shown something, okay? It's to do with the retinas and the way they pick up imagery with what you're hearing. It's a subconscious thing. So they show you the clouds, right? Clouds going by, and you know, all the xylophone music in the background. Do 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 do. So magical, and everyone, you're all fucking nut jobs, you know.
Shown that my life as I thought it was not what I quite thought they were.
Part of the world that he was part of, he saw a lot of good and a lot of light. He believed we were in an era of enlightenment and that it was almost like a renaissance happening here. There were those who would not wish for this to be so, that the last thing that they wanted was enlightenment, and they wanted to keep people closed and in place, and that is what he saw as the darker side.
That's what I see as the darker side too. Perhaps you do too, right?
Thought that possibly the more he spoke out, the more dangerous it became. He said, if I don't survive this, Mum, then you have to make sure that you look into it. I don't even know if it was the people or if it was going to Poland. I don't know the answers, but something changed. Somehow he got connected with a darker side.
I love this 90s.
Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. How he got connected with the darker side. They don't go into how, what, where, why, who it might have been. So I believe the mother has been coerced into ending it with that. Okay. Nuances in the voice would say so too, because it's a little bit like, you know, and he believed this to be a renaissance and a change of enlightenment and people waking up, you know. And he was such a good boy, and he knew so much, he taught so much until he joined the dark side. It's just, it don't fit to me. And then the reporter replies to all that's, you know, replies with, I like his haircut.
Oh, it's gorgeous,
90s
isn't it?
curtains,
I know.
gorgeous. It's not normal for an apparently healthy 39-year-old man to just die on a sofa. Loads has been written about Max's death, but very little truth.
Again, what are they showing you as she says it's all right? She's right there. They will tell you truth and show you lies, or they will tell you a lie and show you truth. So it's not normal for a 39-year-old man to just die on a sofa. I absolutely agree. My father died at 45 on his own, all alone, through the night on a sofa. So I can fucking relate, right? But what are they showing you in the background? Super soldiers, UFOs, Project Bluebeam, all this crazy stuff, yeah? You see it, right? Don't take it in. That's what they want.
Has come out. So what do we know? 1. Maxwell Lindsay Herbert Bates Spears died on the evening of the 16th of July 20...
When they give you full names, it's because they want you to believe that they've obviously done their research. They've obviously looked into whoever it is in question or whatever it is in question. I know I've done it. I did it with Teal Swan, for example, but that's because I'm trying to show you that she's playing a character. That's all. But when they go, what was it? Max Lindsay Herbert Spears, I believe it was. They do. It's a way of going, they know. They know. And then you're in, and you're going to take it on board even more, aren't you?
16 in a suburb of Warsaw. 2. Max died in the home of Monica DeVal, a sci-fi publisher. They'd known each other for about 3 months. and just a few days before, they'd returned from a holiday in Cyprus. 3. The doctor who attended the scene reported that Max had a high fever for about 24 hours and wrote, "Before emergency services came to the site, dark brown liquid spilled out of the patient."
Monica answered. She was hysterical and she said that, yeah.
It's quite quite an intriguing, interesting piece of information there. So why would they let that out? That's what you should always ask yourself with stuff where you go, hang on, fucking hell, it's a bit full on. Why would they let that out? There's always a reason, okay?
Yeah, he's dead. And then speaking to Monica 2 days after he had died, she said he had thrown up black liquid earlier in the morning. And she said 2 litres of black liquid.
4. Max's body came back to the UK 6 days later. 5. A post-mortem in Kent came back as inconclusive.
Oh my God, interdimensional alien spacecraft is coming after me. Or it's just on a mission doing its normal days of work.
Again, that's Miles Johnson speaking. So he does interviews where he's interviewing people that really take this stuff seriously. What he just said, interdimensional entities. Yeah, why the fuck is he mocking it? Knowing that the BBC are going to be showing it to everyone else. You see what I mean? He's a little bit dodgy, that one, I think. From what I can tell, from what I can feel.
These are living. They are living.
Some of these interviewers were living until this shit happened to them, and now that they feel already dead, you know. Some of them go on to take their own lives. They have to deal with the shit that he's mocking day in, day out.
Well, they're trees.
Yeah, the tree.
Yeah.
Thorn bushes. I had an experience when they switched me into a different domain.
This is Miles. He calls himself a transhumanization researcher. He knew Max for many years and invited Max to speak at conferences.
Max talked
Handler.
about super soldiers, he talked about deep underground bases, he talked about Nightmare Hall, where they've been making all these types of creatures in the labs in Dulce and in this country. The creation of a interdimensional or astral war or army.
The majority of the moon is now run by the Fourth Reich.
He was also explaining...
Again, you see, them little snippets, quotes that he said, they do that in a way, because anyone else that's... I mean, that's even obscure to me. Yeah? Or you, perhaps. But to someone that don't know, what? Fucking Nazis on the moon? That's it. That's why they do that, okay?
That we are governed by others, the unseen.
Is this what you would call the New World Order?
The New World Order is a sort of a modern version of that.
What did Max think happened to him when he was a child?
Max was part of a group of children, about 40 children, who were treated in very special ways.
Okay, here Miles is talking about the super soldier program that Max thought he was part of. Max believed that his mind had been...
He thought he was part of, he never said he thought it, he was absolutely convinced. You see, it's the wording. And her insipid tone, like I said, okay, so it's all the way through it gets worse too. And we know as fact as well, she has no right to say what she just said because we already know as fact of life and death, that these programs do go on, and it's always without fail over the children, about the children, with the children, and done upon the children.
Altered as a fetus and could be controlled to fight in other dimensions.
But they were being trained to survive an enemy that they needed to be able to conquer, and that's what he was fighting.
That's quite a big thing to believe happened to you when you were a child.
You see, you keep on saying this belief system. If you're actually in a program and you're actually with other children, exposed to different military conditions by other elements who are in control, then that's not a belief system. That's happened to you in your life.
Exactly what I just said then, isn't it? See, that's real, what you just said. These people, they're not sellouts as such, but they are under certain guidelines and they know they can't go above it. Because some of the interviews he gives on his basis project, he would not get away with. They would not allow it out. They would not let it out unless, okay? But that was him. I believe that was actually him. He's a good bloke. Max Spears is a good bloke, but I know that at the same time he'd gone under so much programming that he did tell lies in his interviews. But I don't think he really knew he was doing it. I think they were, as you say, they don't pass the blame, by the way. Yeah, he was a fucking super soldier. Can you imagine some of the things they made him do? It would have been very fucking disgusting. But that's how he knew. However, shades of grey, I suppose. But yeah, that was real. That was real.
I was targeted as an
See the gulp, the micro expression, the gulp at the end, like, whoops.
individual from birth. With me, the trauma began whilst in the womb. There are a number of different ways to traumatize, to split the mind of the child so that it creates alters, maybe like a honeycomb. The reason behind fracturing the mind is so that when the mind is fractured through trauma, the mind fractures itself and creates an amnesiac barrier around that, so that you don't have to keep reliving the experience over and over again.
Right, we know, this is again what I just said, we know that's fact, that is science, yeah? I don't put too much faith in scientists because most people just look at someone with a lab coat and a fucking name tag and go, oh, well, if it's coming from their mouth, obviously it must be true. However, if you want to be one of them and go down the science route, there's your science for you. That's just it. That's how it works. That is how it works. It's called the imprinting stage, okay? It works better between when you're born than 3, but it goes up to when you're about 6, 7 years old. And that's exactly what it does. I can never say this, the vasovagal nerve, I believe it's called, gets damaged from the blunt trauma of sodomy, essentially, but it can work through like physical abuse as well as sexual abuse, psychological abuse. You don't even have to touch the child, but it's there, it's real, and it's science. So let's listen to them put it down now and call him fucking fractured and mock the fracturing subject that he's speaking of.
We've got a predator. That predator has arrived and it's been farming us and it's been planning our demise as parasites for a long time, and that, crucially, is what Max was trying to tell us.
Who's he speaking about, brothers and sisters? I mean, I know that was a bit of what Miles Johnson did there. He ripped off a quote from, I can't remember his name. Neil, you know, don't you, mate? It's a quote from a Gnostic. I believe he was a Gnostic, but he knew his shit. He's talking about the demiurge. He's talking about the demiurge, right? The vampiric consciousness. Although he never used the word demiurge, they're not allowed to use that word, you see.
So Max had some fairly
Pink and yellow, training you up through sex and violence.
weird ideas, but I find it hard to believe they're the reason behind his death.
What did that bitch just say?
That's what Max was trying to tell us.
So Max had some fairly weird ideas, but I find it hard to
Do you see what I mean? You can't say that. You're a fucking reporter. You're meant to be objective. Like, it might be weird to you. It's not weird to me. It's not weird to the person, whoever you are right now who's listening to this. Is it weird? You might even think it's something else that perhaps is negative, but she's telling you what to think.
believe they're the reason behind his death. There's a man in Poland, however, who might be able to give us some answers.
We've learned that the prosecutor's office here have opened an investigation into Max's death, and the prosecutor's just managed to make time for us, and we're heading there to try and find out what he knows, to see if he can tell us any more about Max.
They love all that, all this. They love that too because it gives that like scrawny, pasty little conspiracy theorist hacker, in the corner of his dark room. Oh, it's so offensive, isn't it? It's so offensive.
It's very early in the investigation, but what do you know? What are the facts for you at this stage?
Na tym etapie ustaliliśmy, że załoga pogotowia ratunkowego została wezwana przez partnerkę pana Maxa Spearsa.
You said partner of Max Spears.
Z naszych informacji wstępnych wynika, że była to partnerka pana Spearsa. Natomiast te okoliczności charakter tej relacji będziemy ustalać w toku śledztwa. Lekarz po przybyciu na miejsce podjął czynności reanimacyjne, zakończone niestety niepowodzeniem. Wobec takich wniosków lekarza w dalsze czynności na miejscu nie była angażowana policja. Informacja o śmierci pana Spearsa do prokuratury dotarła dopiero 30 sierpnia tego roku, kiedy już...
I love how they just pretend they know what they're saying. They have someone that has to translate this to them after they've said it. You know that, right? So she's not sitting there going, yep, yep. She has no fucking idea. Oh, great little actress.
Ciało zostało przewiezione do Wielkiej Brytanii. Nie mogliśmy m.in. przeprowadzić kluczowych w tego typu przypadkach sekcji zwłok.
The prosecutor told me he plans to interview everyone that was present when Max died. We know Monica was there, but it's unclear who else was around, and he won't give me names.
Okay, dziękuję, Łukasz.
Dziękuję bardzo.
So, more gaps in the story, and gaps and rumours fuel great headlines.
Like the ones that you're trying to feel right now.
Morning, folks. How we doing?
Right, this is. I'm gonna end with this one. Do a part 2, perhaps. I don't know. Or should I just keep going? I don't want to give our videos. I know it can bore people, but hopefully you're with me on this. This is one of the main things I saw and wanted to show. One of the main reasons I wanted to attack this documentary, the way they're trying to attack the viewers of it. Oh, right. Look what they've done here. Yeah. So this is us. This is how they see us. And this is what they're showing people that don't know about us. That this is what we are.
Unanswered questions are like a red rag to a bull for conspiracy theorists.
They stole Max's memories from his
Max
cell.
was about to expose a child pedophilia ring.
There are hours of this sort of stuff online. Everybody.
This sort of stuff. Yeah? Paedophile rings, yeah. Oh, that's sort of weird, made up stuff.
They stole his memories and put him into Orlando Bloom.
Max was messed with before he was born.
I think Max is going to stick around for maybe 6 months out of body.
His DNA was genetically manipulated.
Right. Okay, but we are...
Oh, can you just smash your head into that wall? Right. Sorrow. Breathe for your beak. Breathe for your beak, mate. Right. You are not meant to say things like that if you're a reporter, if you're a journalist, more importantly, yeah? The guy's fucking dead, and they're literally dancing on his grave with reactions like that, with tones like that. Okay? So they just show you a bunch of... It's not even that these people that they just showed you are wrong or, or anything like that. They're entitled to their own opinion, but they've took the one little snippets that make them sound completely fucking nuts, and therefore that's how we will be seen. Ugh. She makes my skin crawl, this one. She really does. Right.
Max is going to stick around for maybe 6 months out of body.
His DNA was genetically manipulated.
Right. Okay, but we are still talking about a real person here. Max...
No, you're not. You're not talking about a real person. You're trying to create a character to assassinate the real one.
He was a father to 2 boys, and he was a son to Vanessa, and his life revolved around his family.
See? Guys, psst, oi! Cue the piano music. Thanks.
As well as his obsession with conspiracies.
It was always the heart is what matters. Everything comes from the heart. That's the sad part for me is that I think somehow he got connected with a darker side.
Did you worry about his mental health at any point?
Yeah, he suffered from anxiety, no question.
I want to know what happened to Max Spears in his very last days.
Make no mistake about it, Max was no saint.
And exactly how deep did his anxieties run?
It created a really big problem. Really big problem.
You see her eyes? So they've invested it now that Miles Johnson and his mother are the ones that are going to be giving you the truth, the lowdown on Max. I knew him the best and all the rest, right? But then they leave you. What did I tell you about the first and last? The last thing they leave you with is them two lying through their teeth. You saw their eyes, right? Oh, he was no saint. You will later find out what they mean by that. Oh, he liked a bit, drunk sometimes, did a couple of lines. He's no fucking saint. That's all that was, right? They put it on the end. So you're like, oh, hang on. Okay. The same with the mother. Oh, what was it she said? Sorry.
Take about it, Max was no saint.
And exactly how deep did his anxieties run?
It created a really big problem. Really big problem.
That's it. Over-exaggeration. So really big problem is an over-exaggeration in itself. A big problem is a really big problem, isn't it? But then to say it twice, and you watch the micro-expressions in the eyes, if he's being caused, so's he. Okay? So I will leave it there. We'll do a part 2 in a moment, which will have even more... it's worse. I'll just say that much. It gets worse. I've only seen it all through once, 3 parts, but the next one's only about 15 minutes. So hopefully I will join you there and you will join me too. I love you all, whether it be on the inside or the outside. I'll see you on the other side of the cube.